In terms of pre-production for the edit itself, after the writing room I knew the ending was going to be silent, so I particularly studied 2 Rian Johnson films. He utilises the lack of sound to act almost as an exclamation mark for the scene. I noted the volume before the cut to silence, as well as the narrative importance within the story. Even before we got a script, I made an experimental tester film utilising this aspect of sound design, which taught me how the edit impacts the silence. Also for pre-production, I edited together a compilation of Monroe's original quotes, character reels, and a general mood reel for the film. With these, as well as 2 television episodes, I held a screening day to articulate to the crew the kind of film we were intending to make. On the shoot itself, I helped where I could. Namely, I took on the responsibilities of the clapper, and with me being the one to store and label all the video files, implementing my system of the 3 numbers labelled scene, shot, take. It made life so much easier when it came to editing. When it came into post-production, I started off by syncing the audio and going through the takes with the director and picking out her favourites, and then putting it in chronologically. I was initially worried as large chunks of joining glue for continuity just weren't filmed. I found creative solutions around this, however, and namely an example where in this scene we hadn't shot the doors opening. There was suddenly the light from the other room, so I found a clip of the doors closing on Monroe in that scene and reversed it. Especially after Connor's brilliant sound mix, it doesn't notice at all. I also completely restructured the ending sequence, taking it from the original 3 long shots into more of a montage using a modular approach. I studied specific Christopher Nolan films to see how and when he reveals certain parts of information. Not in the grand modular narrative, however, but the intercutting of different events in a smaller scene. From this, I knew that I needed to keep them both consistent as a through line for the audience and make sure that the cuts weren't too long, otherwise the audience would lose their grasp and focus of the sequence. With the colour grade, I found that typically I'd have to add 3 corrector nodes to the node tree and have all of them attributed to different aspects. Black levels on the curves, gain and brightness, and then working with saturation and colour profiles, which I tried to keep consistent between each shot. I learnt from an earlier edit that it's much more important to have continuity between shots in the same scene, and maybe not have each shot looking at their best, rather than optimise each shot but have it look inconsistent. Especially learning that my monitor isn't calibrated correctly, so I mainly had to focus on the scopes to judge on the picture quality. The way we shot the ending wouldn't work, so I edited my own and screened both to the group to articulate why I'd made the changes and so people wouldn't second guess it. I held a number of test screenings and really focused on getting feedback from anyone I could. Overall, I believe that I've learnt a lot from this project and shown my skills as an editor. From my personal research, experiments and the final film, it has not only made me a better editor, but now I actually understand colour grading and correction.